Juggling tickets, juggling complaints, juggling security issues. Like John Smith is really grumpy with you. You need to get that sorted out. Your team needs to go on leave. Oh no, I can't afford them to go on leave because then it'll affect me. You're juggling things all the time. As an IT manager, it can be really, really tricky to manage everything because you're responsible for making sure that you know your stuff, that you know the tech. You need to know the business. You need to understand what the business is actually doing. What is the business trying to achieve? What are the goals of the business? And then you're leading your tech team, right? You've got the business as usual stuff. This is the stuff that every single day you come into work, you got to do the thing. You got to fix tickets, you got to fix computers, you got to deal with cybersecurity, networking issues here. There's this piece of code that is, you need to fix that. It's all the business as usual stuff, the day-to-day operations. And then you got all the projects, right? There's all the projects, all the stuff that you want to do to make your life and your team's lives better. The strategy, the roadmap, the budgets, the governance, the policies. It's exhausting. I mean, how do you juggle all of this stuff? Stay calm, stay cool, stay organized, right? If you are not organized in the way that you work, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And unfortunately, I've seen so many people that started off really, really well. And then when things got busy, when things got like there was pressure, because hey, in tech, there's a lot of pressure when it comes to tech. You come into work thinking it's going to be all roses. And then there's been like this massive cyber attack and everybody is grumpy. The business cannot work. Customers are calling you up going, the systems that we use are not working. It's stressful. Or there's an unexpected thing, an outage that has happened that's now going to cost you a lot of money to fix up. It was not part of your IT budget, but you got to fix it. And because you are the manager, because you are the boss, your team, if you're managing a team, or if you want to manage a team in future, they're going to be looking at you for direction. They're going to be looking at you to make sure that you are the one that's calm, cool, and collected. Because if you're losing your mind, it's not helpful, right? You want to be a strong leader who knows how to get this stuff sorted. My name is Emilio. I love tech, love tech. This is a tech YouTube channel. Do the subscription thing. Press on the notification bell as well. That way you get notified when things are sort of getting released. And let's get into the video.
You are going to be responsible for a lot. So if you're not good at organization, you're going to break apart very quickly. Things will get missed. You'll get burnout, and then you'll probably end up quitting, and we don't want that. Now, something that I like to do is you're going to be managing a lot of stuff, right? So keep track of all of this. Now, how do you keep track of all of this? Is just have a list of everything that I have to do. I like to plan out my entire week, my entire month if possible, and even my quarter if possible. So 3 months of what is going on, what is coming up, right? So a good example would be planning for a week. That's always a good start. Have some sort of a planner app, a to-do list, something that where you can outline everything that you want to achieve in a particular week. There's going to be a lot of things. You're going to have a lot of meetings. You're going to have a lot of things, deadlines you need to do, perhaps presenting to a board or presenting to directors or something, having meetings with staff. There's a lot of things that you want to do. So you want to outline all of this in a week's planner, ideally. You're also going to have your own personal things that you want to do. You want to write a new policy. You want to deploy this particular new system. You want to manage some of your staff in a particular way or send them off on training or something. There's a lot of people management that comes along with that. There's a lot of those things as well. Then you've got the day-to-day tickets that are going to be coming in. So of course, if you're looking after an IT service desk to some extent, there's going to be tickets coming in from staff. So you're going to need to maybe action some things there, or it'll be an escalation point for those. So having all of this listed and plan your whole week ahead. So what I like to do is on a Monday, first thing Monday morning, I will go and figure out what I'm going to have planned for that week and Outlook it into Outlook, put it into Outlook. So I use my calendar in Outlook a little bit like a planner as well, along with having a big list of what I want to achieve and a to-do list and just having a checklist. I also will try to input as much as I can into my calendar on a Monday for the entire week so that I know what is coming up and to make sure that I don't miss out on anything. So of course, in a week, you're going to have meetings. So those meetings are already going to be in there, or you're going to go and schedule all these meetings in there. But also, if I've got to write a policy, if I need to go write a brand new IT acceptable use policy for the organization or upgrade the disaster recovery plan, I don't want to just have it as an item that I want to do, but I want to actually go into my calendar and put it into there so that I don't forget it. So that I know that on a Tuesday at 2 p.m., I'm spending 2 hours on the DRP. There's a reminder against that so that it reminds me, you've got to work on your DRP. Anybody in the organization, my IT staff, anybody else, any other staff members who want to contact me during that time, well, it's blocked out. It's blocked out for the DRP plan, right? Now, of course, people can contact you during that time if it's something urgent and you need to move things around. Of course, a good part of this good planning is that you're able to drop things if needed, if there's an emergency. You are the IT manager, so you need to make sure that the lights remain on. So if there's an emergency, big system has crashed, you need to action that, right? That's the priorities, to make sure that that is all working. But having everything planned out, scheduled ahead of time, will help you with your organization. What I also like to do for longer term planning is not only just have the tasks and the planners and everything like that, but also use my ticketing system. So you've got your ticketing system that is already used by techs. Staff log a ticket, they get thrown up into the ticketing system, they action it, they close it, there's a priority, etc. And then that's it, right? I like to use the ticketing system myself for all of my tasks. I've got a lot of things to do. So I'm going to go and create tickets in there, assign them to myself with a start date, an end date, priorities, alerts, so that it alerts me, reminds me when things are due. That way I can keep track of every single item that I want to get done because it's all outlined within a ticketing system. Something that I would highly recommend is take notes when you're in a meeting, when you're talking to somebody, when you're watching an online seminar, whatever it may be, take notes. Don't rely on your brain. Now, some of you are going to have amazing memories and you're going to remember everything. And that's what I think sometimes. But don't underestimate pen and paper, a laptop, taking notes, because you're going to forget things. There's too many things that you have to look after. So take notes, take good notes, concise, quick notes even, but take notes so that you remember what has been discussed. You have action items to action. You meet with your boss, they tell you 10 things they want done. Don't just think you're going to remember it all. Write it down so that you remember what to do. It's part of being organized, and then later on delivering the results. I like to be tidy and clean and neat. So my desk is not going to be full of rubbish. I'm not going to have papers on my desk. I'm going to keep everything neat and clean. I think it says a lot when you have a messy space. It shows that you're unorganized when you've got stuff everywhere. It shows that you're organized if you have a clean space. This is also true of emails, for example. Try not to have 400 unread emails in your inbox, right? Have your emails sorted well enough. Have a good hierarchy. Have folders. Have folders created inside of your emails. So when you receive emails, you've read them, you've actioned them, you've responded, you then file it away. Try to have your inbox unread if possible, but have your inbox not only unread, but have your emails not sitting in your inbox. Move them into appropriate folders. One thing between you and me that drives me crazy is when I see an inbox that is like 3, 4, 5,000 emails in there. Yeah, they're all read, but they're all just sitting in the one space, and that drives me absolutely crazy. I like to file it away, keep it in a nice, neat location so you can go and reference it and know exactly where all your emails are. Something that I also like to do is I'll set aside some time, whether if it's every day or every week, is what I call focus time. This is the time where I block out 2 or 4 hours in my calendar where it's for me to focus and get stuff done that perhaps is overdue or urgent items that I didn't get to. That's blocked out in my calendar. It's blocked out. Rather than leaving your calendar open, because if your calendar is open, then everybody can see that your calendar is open, so they're going to try to book some time in with you, right? And you yourself will see that it's open, so you're not going to have much time to do stuff perhaps, or your mind goes elsewhere. I set focus time in there, 2 to 4 hours every day or every week, depending on what your calendar looks like, where I can just get stuff done. People will see that that time is blocked out and they will not interrupt you, or they shouldn't interrupt you. I will also get out of my emails. I will also get out of my instant messaging in my chat, especially nowadays a lot of people are working remotely. I get out of that so that nobody can interrupt me. Sometimes I'll put my phone onto flight mode so that I can't be called. That is my time to focus. Now, that may not always be possible because sometimes there are fires that need to be put out. IT will have many fires that need to be put out. So this may not be a good option for you, but I find it very, very helpful to switch off, to not get interrupted. If you have an office, close the door. If you have a space, put a little thing, do not disturb, something so that you can focus on getting stuff done. So all of this stuff that we've talked about will then help you to deliver what you need to deliver and deliver it on time. If you say to somebody you'll deliver something at a specific time, specific cost, specific time frame, whatever, try to deliver to that. And I think putting all of this stuff in place, being organized, keeping on track of everything will help you to deliver what you promised. Documentation is super, super important. It's not just for you, it's not just for your staff, it's not just for the end users, but it's also for new staff who are coming on board. I'm sure you have experienced it, I have experienced it, where you've started at a new organization and you ask for, oh, can you show me the document for this? I'm sorry, we don't have one. Can you show me the document? Show me the network diagram. Oh, sorry, we don't have one. Where's your IT disaster recovery plan? Oh, we don't have one. We just make it up as we go, or it's all in everybody's heads. The worst thing that can happen is that you and your techs have all your knowledge in your heads, because then you leave the organization, you take all that knowledge with you. There is now a huge gap in the organization, which actually puts the organization at risk. Not a good place to be. So try to document absolutely everything. Anything that you can document it. If staff know the stuff, that's great. Hey, if your IT techs know the stuff and it's all in their head, excellent, but translate that into a document, a digital document. We've talked about registers and things of that nature. Have everything listed, everything somewhere so that I can easily go and access all of this. I shouldn't need to go and ask somebody, can you tell me about this system? Because all that system information should already be documented somewhere. So documents could include server documents, network documents. How does a server function? Server ABC, what does it do? What's its function? What are its specs? Right, stuff like that. Network documentation. How is this switch configured? How is it working? The config of your switches, of your routers, of your firewalls, the configs of your firewalls. What can it do? What can't it do? What network traffic is allowed in? What isn't allowed in? How-to guides. Network diagrams. What does a network look like? I mean, this one is imperative in my opinion, because I love being organized and I love to know how my network functions. Show me a network diagram. I think that says a lot. If you go to an organization and you ask them for a network diagram and they don't have one, or it's very, very basic, get it fixed. It's not good. Know what your network looks like. Know all of your devices, IP addresses, speeds, ports that are open, ports that, physical ports that switches, that the devices are running into, what switches in what ports. Have all of that documented in a pool of network diagrams. Server room diagrams. What do the racks look like? What's in the racks? How are they cabled? What powers are they running into? What network points are running into where? All of that in server data center diagrams. How are backups configured? Where are backups going? Architecture diagrams. All of these documents are essential, right? These are just some that we've mentioned. There's a lot more, but try to document absolutely everything. Don't just rely on people's minds, on what they remember, because they leave the organization not a good place because they take the knowledge with them. So try to have everything documented. It's your responsibility. You are the IT manager, so you need to make sure that there are documents for everything. The other thing is what happens if your boss, your director, your CEO comes to you and says, hey, IT manager, I would like to see your backup procedure. Can you please show it to me? Also, we don't have it. We just know how it runs. And this is how it runs. The servers go from here to here and then it goes up to the cloud. Better to give them a document. Here it is. Here is the procedure. There you go, right? And not just having documentation, also keep it up to date. Good to write a document and have it, but then make sure that you update it, because there's no point in having a nice document of your network diagram that's 5 years old. You've then gone and upgraded things and it's out of date. And if you're referring to this 5-year-old diagram or document, it's not good either. Have an up-to-date version of all of your documents. But every organization needs a set of IT policies and procedures that are going to form what's called the governance of the IT. This is the framework, the structure, the governance around how our IT environment, how our network, how our processes, how our procedures are all managed. An example of this would be having what's called an IT acceptable use policy, an IT AUP. This is a document that's going to outline specifically what an IT system looks like, how it functions, and also lays out for staff their use of this system, of the network. So a staff member who has a copy of the IT acceptable use policy, perhaps a staff member has commenced in an organization, they go through an onboarding, through an induction process, and part of this induction pack, which is managed by HR, by finance, by OH&S people, all these sort of folks, in that is an IT acceptable use policy. So a staff member reads this and they understand exactly what the IT systems look like, the structure, all of that, but also what's expected of them when they're using the network. So here's an example of what a IT acceptable use policy may look like, or at least what sort of material, what sort of contents it should have. Now this is very, very high level, it's very basic. Yours could be a lot more detailed, and I'd recommend you add a lot more detail that is relevant to the place that you're working, the place that you are managing. You want to include as much information in here as possible to make it clear what the IT acceptable use policy includes. You want to make it clear to staff what they can and can't do and how to perform basic operations when they're using the IT systems. In summary, what I've got at the very top is just a simple introduction about what is this document about. You sort of provide a little bit of an overview around what the IT acceptable use policy is, its purpose, its function, maybe some exclusions, all that sort of stuff, all based on the introduction. I then provide a bit of an overview around the systems and equipment. So an overview of the infrastructure and how it's configured. Now you don't have to get super technical in here because this is a document that's aimed for the business. It's a business document. It's not necessarily a IT tech document. So you want to not get too tech. If you start talking about very, very technical items, Active Directory, and you start talking about DNS and DHCP, people are just not going to understand what that means. So you keep it very high level, provide an overview around the sorts of systems and the equipment that's in use. You know, so if you're looking at staff members, they've got their own desktop, their own laptop, they've got a phone, they're connected to some sort of a network, they log into this particular name domain, they log in with these credentials, all this sort of stuff is all part of the systems and equipment. You then also include, together with that, around software and data. So an overview of the software and data and how it is used. So this is software and data that's sitting on their equipment. You know, how do they use particular software? An overview of the software that they use, well, the software that's installed, and how do they use it? What's its purpose? As well as the data. Where is data going to sit? Where is data going to live? What sort of data is allowed on a computer? What data isn't allowed? Now, if we're talking about software as well, is you're sort of mentioning things around, well, we're not going to allow staff members to install their own software, for example. It's only approved via the IT team. Office internet usage. So you outline an internet use and guidelines for staff. Now, is the internet completely open? Can staff do whatever they want on it? Or is it locked down? Can they only do specific things? There should be some sort of a internet filter in place, maybe a proxy or something in place that allows and disallows specific things. So for example, adult content should not be allowed in a business. So you're going to prevent that. You're going to prevent perhaps sites that talk about violence and malware, sites that potentially have malware and things of that nature. So all of that needs to be included in this internet usage policy and letting the staff know that there are filters in place to be able to prevent certain sites from being accessed, right? And that includes downloads and everything. Email usage, very similarly. So you're going to outline email use and guidelines for staff. You discuss things such as malware, phishing, email spam, give people an overview that the email system is for business use, should not be used for personal use unless you can. Some businesses will allow personal use. So you're sort of stipulating in here, what is the email system going to be used for? You're using Outlook, it's on the cloud, it's on premise, whatever it may be. How are they using email and what is its purpose? And also just a bit of an overview, being aware around some of these phishing and malware attacks and attempts, letting staff know that they should be aware of that. And if anything is seen that looks suspicious, to contact the IT team, to not click on any suspicious links, to not open any suspicious attachments, all of that within emails. Phone usage. Now you've got your office phones, perhaps a desk phone, perhaps a VoIP system. You've got mobile phones if they're provided by the company. You outline the proper use for all of this, for the office phones, for the mobile phones. What can they do? What can't they do on their personal and on their business phone. Is the business phone for business and also for personal? What are the rules around that? A mobile phone, if it's provided by the company, well, can they install their own games and apps onto that mobile phone? So you need to outline all of that stuff right there. We then talk about Wi-Fi, everything around Wi-Fi, how to connect to the Wi-Fi, what's expected on the Wi-Fi, that there are Wi-Fi hotspots around. With Wi-Fi, you could also talk about, well, there are network points scattered around. If you want to talk about specific Ethernet points that are connected in your computer, this is how a computer accesses the network and the Wi-Fi services, for example. Also VPN, if you're using VPN, what is it, why the company uses it, what staff can access when they're connected, outline a proper use and what VPN is and what its purpose is, and essentially letting them know that when they're on VPN, they're connected as if they're in the office, etc., etc. And then a little area down the very bottom around support center ticket lodgement. How do they log a ticket with IT? So you outline what this is, why, how staff log tickets, no ticket, no job. So we want to recommend that all staff do log a ticket so that we can track, we can triage, we can manage all of the tickets that are coming through the system. And this may actually, link to a document that is in a lot more detail. Do you allow staff in an organization to use social media? Can they log into the social media platforms and spend 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of their day on social media or watching YouTube videos all day? Can they do that? Some organizations are going to be okay with staff being able to do specific things on the network. Other organizations will not allow this. I mean, at the end of the day, the laptop, the desktop, the system that is given to a staff member was purchased, set up, configured by that organization. They are the ones who have set up this system and it's their equipment. It's the organization, it's the business equipment. It's on loan to that staff member who is using it. So the organization has the right and has the say on what can and can't be done on that computer. It's very different to a staff member who is now at home and who has their family pics and they're doing all stuff at home, their own personal stuff at home on their own personal computer. That may be fine because that's their computer. This is now a work computer. So you need to now set what can and can't be done. Now, it's not all the IT manager's responsibility to set up this policy. Okay, the IT manager will maybe give some recommendations, but it'll generally be board, directors, CEO, who essentially says, hey, this is the culture of my organization. This is what I do and don't allow. So they're going to be setting the standard around what they can and can't do. So some organizations won't allow social media, but what if you work for an organization that is a social media organization? You build some stuff around social media, or you have to be publishing stuff all the time to social media. Well, it's going to be very different for somebody like that because they're going to be having to do that as part of their job. Security policies, what your IT staff can and can't do, levels of access within IT, a domain administrator's policy. This is what a domain admin can do. This is who it's assigned to, the different roles around that. So there's going to be a lot of different policies, a lot of different procedures for different organizations, but they're elementary to have. So the policies go hand in hand with the documentation. Think of the documentation as more tech-based, tech-focused, maybe sitting in some sort of a technical documentations folder on a file server, on SharePoint, on the cloud, wherever it may be. And then you got more IT management-based. This is now policy-based. We're now talking about more high-end stuff. So it's all going to be sitting within IT policies. But having a good framework is really, really good because it's going to set the entire culture of the IT team. And it also dictates essentially what IT can and can't do all around policies and what staff can and can't do.
But hey, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Subscribe, click on the button, on the bell. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks again. Talk to you then.